Between the two of them. The inside of Coates. Parker gets too heavily involved. And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Hello everybody and welcome to VRRC for this, the 6th and final round of the Academy MX-5 Cup. I'm Ed Main. Joining me in the commentary box is the wonderful Dave Marshall for what is set to be an amazing finale, a roller coaster ride through the Lincolnshire countryside here at Cadwell Park. And much like Thruxton a week earlier, there aren't many circuits like this one, are they, Dave? Cadwell Park. It's such a great venue, and I'm really looking forward to this because it's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, you know what I said last week. For me, Thruxton is a racing track. Always provides quality racing and real tactics when you come to Cadwell Park. It's why it's so popular with track days. It's like England's version of the Nürburgring. It is such a driver's track, and to race on it, I can only imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see here we've come to the end of the season. 12th of July today is the day where we will find a champion crown. One driver at the top of all the rest in this Mazda MX-5 Academy Cup. Part of a much wider sort of championship. You can see we have, I believe, the Audi TT Cup, the Formula 4s and the Caterhams still to come, and I can't actually remember which one is next, Dave. Something's telling me it's only Formula 4.
Yeah.
And you've just told me that Formula 4. So definitely a little bit different from these MX-5s, but there's still two more races still to go this evening. Drive to really test their mettle. You can see the championship kicks off again in a couple of weeks, 26th of July at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, like we did for the MX-5s, and it follows the same rotation of tracks but with a different car format, which means the drivers have got to not adjust their knowledge of circuits but rather their knowledge of cars, which is, I guess, what the whole purpose of this Academy MX-5 Cup is, to develop driving ability. You can see here the prizes on offer. First place will get 2 hours one-to-one online coaching on the first place winners cap. Second gets 1 hour of the coaching and a second place winners cap. And third gets some card setup coaching and the third place winners cap. But hey, if we come into this off of Thruxton and we can see who was on the top, and well, there's no surprise, is it, that Andy Dorman came on song. Yes, again, he didn't have the best of evenings at Snetterton the week before, but he made up for it at Thruxton, didn't he?
Yeah, he did indeed. And you know what? Really showed real class and calculation for overtakes, which is something we've really seen him develop since the start of the academy. And you know, just exactly what we were wanting to see, wasn't it, Ed? You know, waiting for them passes to open up, not just jumping straight past at the soonest chance, which you would think is what racing's about, but it wasn't. He calculated, so it meant he got the right run and meant it was extremely hard for the person in front to defend. So fantastic job. As you can see, that's really brought him into the equation now for the overall points in the championship stands for the MX-5. Currently sat third, but he's come up from quite a way back, Ed. He's managed to close that gap up a lot on Simon Reed and Mick Sutton. So going in tonight, you know, Simon Reed, he's been a very strong performer out of qualifying straight away in the grid. Mick Sutton, always been really fast, maybe slightly more inconsistent, but in the coming weeks he has actually been improving a lot on the consistency, and Andy Dorman has had a really good track record from Thruxton. So I mean, just look at his stats currently at the moment: 2 poles and 4 fast laps. So he's definitely got the speed to do some serious damage tonight.
Yeah, he definitely does. All to play for, and 10 points though between first and second in the championship. You can see there Mick Sutton's got 6 fastest laps. It's Andy Dorman who's on 3. Simon Reed leading the championship doesn't set any fastest laps, or at least set the overall fastest lap come the end of the race, but his consistency, his ability to always finish in the top 3 has been his real trump card. So we're going to see if the MX-4 racing driver can take it across the line, but Cadwell Park certainly takes no prisoners, and we have just moved into the qualifying session. So shall we have a look at a hot lap of this Cadwell Park circuit, Dave?
And here we are across the line at Cadwell Park for the final round of the Academy in the MX-5. What a car and track combo this is. 4th gear through the first corner, completely flat. Up into turn 2, running it as far left as you dare. Trying to get a very late apex here through turn 3. You don't want to try and hit that red curb. It's got a little bit of a bump on it and it's not too nice. So you'll notice I'm going to carry 4th up the hill, up Park Straight. I'm not going to use 5th gear, just use all the RPM here and brake as late as you dare for the 4th corner here. Down to 3rd, I'm going to catch a little bit of curb here, but I don't actually mean to. Car gets really quite unsettled there. Through turn 5, try to make the track as short as possible. Don't run it too far left there. Into 6 and 7, the gooseneck. Carrying good speed into 4th, getting the car rotated early. Keep it in 4th through there. Don't be tempted to put it down to 3rd. See, I'm a little bit late on the brakes there, missed my apex, but I still carry good speed through that corner. Now we're going to come down to turns 11 and 12, the mountain. So early into 3rd, getting the car rotated and flat on the throttle through the right. Do not lift through that right and up the hill, otherwise there's so much time to be lost. 13, you can see I'd take a little bit of grass on entry. 14, a little bit of grass again, trying to get the car left before I hit that jump, which allows to keep the car settled. Second to last corner through in 2nd, and then the last corner, just going to hold 3rd gear and slowly pick the throttle up, get very close to the edge there. So that is a lap of Cadwell Park, and make sure you tune in on Monday night for a final round of the Academy.
So, everybody, that was a hot lap of the Cadwell Park circuit done by the wonderful Dave Marshall. And Dave, you could see that it's such a technical circuit, so much for these drivers to think about and focus on going through the corners. And you've got a really crucial area of the lap time. Obviously, that final sector is important, but into the second corner, the long run through Charlie's, you have to balance the throttle ever so delicately to get the best run possible down that long middle straight.
Yeah, and you know what? Just as you're on about here, Simon Reed doing exactly where we're talking about, coming over that crest to try and spot that right-hand apex to pick up that throttle. You're almost having to do it off memory because you've got to pick up the throttle before you've even seen the apex. So a very, very committed corner. One of them where in qualifying it's important, but more than likely we probably won't see that sort of commitment in the race. Fantastic angle here, camera angle here by Tom O'Farrell. I mean, what a spectacle that is. Some cars getting very, very sideways. Teddy Hines there just going out with shot now. Teddy Hines, the only guy racing tonight on a motion simulator, and he was actually telling us it feels like a proper roller coaster, this track. So I can only imagine how that must feel.
Yeah, especially considering most drivers go, you know, all four wheels off the circuit, up in the air, going into the hairpin and into barn, of course, at the end of the lap. We're seeing the first times just starting to trickle on through, and at the moment, top of the pile is Mick Sutton. He was very quick in the practice session, and on that last lap time, he set 2 purple sectors. Sector 2 and Sector 3 faster than anybody else out on the circuit, so that was a very good time from him. Simon Reed, where I've just seen, has gone purple in the first sector, personal best in the second, and as he makes his way up to the line here, he goes second fastest. Not enough, just a 10th off of Mick Sutton.
Wow, you know what? I was maybe a bit apprehensive about tonight. Thruxton, what a track that was last round. Always proves extremely close on lap time. I thought Cadwell Park, you know, yes, it's a shorter track, but it is so much more technical, so much variation in, you know, what could potentially happen. And you know what? It isn't disappointing at the moment. Currently only 3 tenths separating the top 3 drivers, so we are in for an absolute riot tonight, I think, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see plenty of turnout out on the circuit. That's the main thing. Kobe Likens returning back after, he got his first race victory, then was away for a few weeks, but is back out in action. And as he makes his way now, coming through Barn, so named because there used to be a barn there back in the 90s that was unfortunately knocked down to make a little bit of room for more runoff. And you can tell that space is at a premium in this circuit because the track is so narrow. A bit of runoff they were able to get had to, I guess, come at the expense of some of the furniture around the circuit. And we're following Luke Weston here. He's currently down in 7th place, but second personal best, so he could find some time just yet. Strange though, isn't it, to see Luke Weston after the start he had to the championship hasn't quite been able to find that pace again.
No, but I do honestly think it's a case of, you know, he's settled back in and he's just trying to get used to this track. He's not one of the drivers who'll put in hundreds of laps prior to the race. He tends to turn up, build himself up a bit more, really, of an approach of a real racing driver. You know, it's one of the big advantages of sim practice where, you know, you look at Mick Sutton, he's put in 300 odd laps prior to tonight. But a real racing driver, I mean, how much 300 odd laps of testing cost you? You know, you're talking, drivers don't get that in the real life. So Luke Weston actually probably adapting himself very, very well for if he wants to go on to do stuff in the real car. Brad Smith, the newcomer, jumping up into 2nd place, extremely close to Mick Sutton there. Brad is really proving to be a one for this championship. Definitely want to look forward to the next championship, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely coming on great since his debut at Snetterton midway through the season. Here at Cadwell Park, though, what can he manage? Like we said, less than half a 10th off of our pole sitters' best lap time so far. Just following Luke Weston now, coming in through the final corner, needs to get the run nailed to perfection. Leaves a little bit of space there on the exit, could have gone the throttle a little bit sooner, could have Luke, but Luke up to the line. Does he improve up the order? Not particularly, unfortunately, that time. We've seen a mistake here. That's Sam Milner, sorry.
Sam Milner, yeah. Just coming up over the crest there, so it's going to be quite a common place, I think, where you could lose it. So we'll stay on board with Brad Smith here. So you're going to come into this left, try and hug the left as much as you can, but you're trying to pick up the throttle as early as possible up this right-hander to carry the momentum up. And I think probably all Sam Milner's done there is drop the wheel on that grass on the left. It's lit up and just spat him out the other side into the wall. So that's probably not one of the last times we're going to see that tonight.
Yeah, definitely not. But that is such a difficult area of the circuit, isn't it? Coming up the mountain is all Brad Smith has difficulty. That was coming through the hairpin actually towards the end of the lap. Spins it around. I'm not sure if there was just too much over rotation, maybe a bump on the inside on the curbs, sent his car around. We did see, didn't we, at the start of the season that these MX-5s weren't too fond of the curbing at Brands Hatch, and it seems to be the same here at Cadwell.
Yeah, I think that was just exit grass, just trying to make the most of the use of the tarmac he's got, and then used a bit more and went off on the grass but kept his foot in, and it just started to go. And once this car starts to go, I'm not saying you can't save it. To keep the lap time there, you've got to keep your foot in, and unfortunately he thought he was going to get it back but not quite enough, and then ended up with a bit more of a spin. Let's see how Mick Sutton deals with a mountain here. So yeah, you can see super committed on the throttle out and over the crest into the final twisty complex. So over the right, into the left. Is he going to try and keep it left, or is he going to take a cut? He's taking quite a big cut there. You see, he's got his line absolutely dialed in over there, jumping the car super straight, super stable. You did see in the hot lap video, I said, I'm getting the car quite settled over there. That doesn't happen every lap. That is one of them crests where you start to cut that too much, and it will start to really throw your car different directions. It doesn't work like that every time, but obviously Mick's done a lot of practice, and he's got that line dialed in where he is jumping that car nice and smooth and nice and planted.
Yeah, it's really exciting seeing the cars come through that whole bend section towards the end of the lap, just darting their way through the forest, left and right, over the hill and back down again. Got a brilliant camera angle here. Tom's been doing a great job to find him. Look at that. 2 wheels over the crest goes. That's Simon Thorpe coming through there. Looks like he was on for a quicker lap time, but this is just an out lap for him, I believe. So don't expect him to climb to the top of your timing sheets just yet. Other drivers making their way up here. I think we'll wait a little bit and see. Old gaggle of cars. Luke Weston.
Luke Weston. Yeah. Luke Weston has been known to get airborne here quite significantly. That was quite tame. Teddy Hines is going to be following. Yeah, again, quite tame actually. Some drivers will cut it a lot more. Andy, the thing with Andy is, I think Andy manages to get the car set a little bit further left before he turns right, and that's what's really keeping the car very planted through that section, not getting much air at all, as opposed to other drivers. See, Mick Sutton very much the same. The drivers that are trying to find a little bit more of that time, you'll find they take a lot more of a cut, and that's what's thrown them up into the air. Even a big 2-wheel moment from some drivers.
Yeah, as Mick Sutton is actually up on his previous best, and as he comes across the line, he's just not able to make it through the final corner. Didn't get the best run, and he's down by, well, less than half a tenth of a second. That lap time still would have been enough for pole position for Mick, however, for the slimmest of margins. So,
Simon Reed just gone quicker.
Simon Reed has gone faster, but not enough to take down Mick Sutton at the top.
But it was enough to beat Brad Smith by 1,000th of a second. So, I mean, it doesn't get any closer, does it?
It really doesn't. No, very close. And Brad Smith, he's going to be trying to get every last bit of pace out, as I think Simon Thorpe has had a moment coming into the hairpin. And here we see Brad Smith coming through. A little bit unsighted, a little bit of dust on the exit. Might have upset his run. We'll see, though, what is going to happen here with Brad Smith's lap time. Is it going to be enough for pole position? I don't think it is. No, definitely not a fast lap time from Brad. Probably unsighted a little bit from that moment we just saw from Simon Thorpe.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few drivers definitely starting to really push the limits of the track here, trying to find absolutely everything. That's why we're seeing a few more spinners, but not just to say that, it is also a really brutally hard track. So one thing is going to be pushing these cars to the limit in qualifying, but I can't wait to see the cars actually race this, Ed.
Oh no, yeah, this is going to be brilliant. As Simon Reed has set a personal best in the first sector, coming into the third, you can see him getting a little bit loose there. The car twitching around. He's able to just about get it under control. Loses out though as a result of all of the sort of fighting of the steering wheel, all of the speed losing out, not carrying the momentum through. And as Simon Reed comes up to the line, what is it going to be? Is it an improvement? No, not enough to take down Mick Sutton as the top, as Mick actually exits the pit lane. So he'll be able to fit in one final lap, as will though Simon Reed. I think Simon Reed will be able to fit a couple more laps in. Obviously this lap that he's on and the next one. Mick Sutton getting out of the way, not wanting to tow Simon Reed whatsoever down the park straight. It's such a sort of long flat out section where if you do get a little bit of slipstream, it will help your lap time out, maybe get you an extra 10th. And with the qualifying as close as it is at the top three are all separated by less than half a 10th. You don't want to afford any sort of pace advantage to your rivals.
No, that is one of the things, and the rest of the track is that tight. For me, that is one of the safest and best opportunities to really. Simon Reed with a huge moment coming down the hill. I think he's just about
top. Brad Smith has gone top of the session with a brilliant lap time. Sorry to go across you there, Dave, but it's going brilliantly for Brad Smith as Simon Reed. We saw a little bit of a moment for him, but it's only by 3,000th that Brad Smith has been able to take the top spot. He got a wonderful run out of the final corner, picked his acceleration point to the absolute best he could have done, and that was the difference maker, because looking at his sector times, there wasn't really any personal best apart from that final sector, and certainly no purple sectors being set by Brad.
Yeah, you know what? I told you he was putting a stamp on this championship, and he certainly is. That is a fantastic time set by Brad. There's a few drivers managing just to squeeze in the 38, but it's one of these tracks where I think they just find it that hard to get the lap consistently going that quickly. Brad Smith, will he maybe decide to push on in the remainder of this session? I probably think he's probably happy with that. He's probably going to go, right, I'll just get the car around there now. But he likes doing things by thin margins. 3,000ths of a second to take pole. It's a very, very tight margin, but crucially, it's enough.
Yeah, his first sector was a little bit lackluster from himself this time around. So Brad Smith, I'm not expecting him to set a faster lap time this time. I can see he's down on his previous best, and yeah, coming out of the final corner, not pushing hard, coming into the pits. However, we do have two big hitters still to come, Mick Sutton and Simon Reed on their final qualifying laps. Who's it going to be? Brad Smith, Mick Sutton or Simon Reed? The final shootout in this final meeting in these MX-5 Mazdas. You can see just in front there is Simon Reed, the white and yellow, with the black and yellow rather, in behind him. Coming up the mountain now. Mick Sutton really opens the corner up. Simon Reed very loose, wasn't he? Just the car light at the rear coming over the crest. Struggling for grip, coming over the hill, all four wheels off the ground, pitching it through nicely, trying to claw back the time. I don't think that's going to be there though for Simon Reed. Sectors aren't looking too great for either driver really. So Simon Reed aborts the lap. Will Mick Sutton be able to improve at the line? It might be close, but no cigar for Mick Sutton. Just a few half a tenths shy of pole position. 3,000th, the difference maker at the end. As we have Sam Milner, last of the drivers to come through. Not Sam Milner, Sam Milner. I keep getting his name confused for some reason. I think confusing him with Simon Thorpe. Some strange reason.
There is a few Simons in this championship.
That is true. Too many Simons. I mean, there's too many Simons. There's two, but it's enough to confuse me. Oh dearie me. That is it, I think, for this qualifying session. No drivers that are on eligible qualifying laps. So it will be Brad Smith, best of the rest this evening. What a great drive it was from him.
Yeah, it was indeed. I've just brought him into the interview room as pole. Well, pole lap now, no longer provisional. The qualifying is over. Brad Smith, 3,000ths of a second into pole ahead of Mick Sutton. I mean, where did that lap come from? Was it unexpected, or was it just a really good hooked up lap?
No, yeah, it was just a good lap. I'd done a 1:39.3 in practice a couple of days ago. I've not been on. Got a few laps in while I was on dad duties, and I was a bit off the pace, but I managed to put it out of the bag, which I definitely needed after last week.
Well, yeah, you're saying about last week, but fresh mind, fresh race. Going into tonight, you must be fair excited because this is going to be one of the hardest tracks to overtake on, and you are in the driving position going forward in this race. So this is where you can really do some damage. Regarding the track, though, is there any real hot spots around the track that you're a bit, not sure of or a bit inconsistent with?
Not really. I've had a few mistakes where you go down the left-hander and drop down the hill, and the same way you go the left, right, and then up the hill. I've had a few mistakes there during practice, but hopefully, if I keep my cool, I'll be able to stay out front.
Well, huge congratulations, Brad, for putting it on pole, and good luck in race 1. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you afterwards.
Thank you very much.
So, everybody, that was Brad Smith, pole sitter, and his first pole position of this series. What a way to do it. He's only been here for 3 rounds, but he's certainly making a lasting impression on this championship. Great little start to this championship fight. But we have a little whirl until we come into the first race of the evening, so we'll go to a short break and be back with all of the action. So don't go anywhere, keep it tuned to VRRC. Welcome back to VRRC. Not long to go until the first race gets underway here at Cadwell Park. And what a front row we have in store for you. Brad Smith on pole position with Mick Sutton down in second place alongside him at the front of the field. Simon Reed at the front of the second row in third ahead of Andy Dorman. Keep your eyes open for them. They're always very quick, big hitters in this championship. Luke Weston with a good 5th place, finally found a little bit of pace. Wasn't able to get the right amount of practice in, but has still found his pace when it started to count. And then, of course, 6th place, we'll see Kobe Likens, ahead of 7th, Sam Milner, Simon Thorpe lining up in 8th place, Teddy Hines in 9th. What a start to this race is going to be, though, isn't it, Dave? 2 by 2, they will go into the first and second corner. A quick left-right. Which driver do you think will come out on top? Because there's a bit to be said about either line, isn't there?
Yeah, for me, crucially, Brad Smith's got the inside line. For all, he doesn't have that much of an advantage there on track in position. As long as he gets a good start, it puts Mick on the outside line. For me, Mick's almost going to have to bail on turn 1. For me, as long as Brad gets away off the line okay, this is Brad's to lose.
Yeah, but we know that Mick isn't a driver that likes to bail out, is he? He's going to go full send into the first corner. The lights come on, the lights go out, and we go racing here, and it is a brilliant start that from Brad Smith. Mick Sutton around the outside is going to try and hold it as much as he can But like you said, Dave, I don't think there's anything he can do to stop Brad Smith from getting up, slotting in front into the lead of the race. They all try to sort themselves out single file, but there's 2x2 in the background. Sam Milner with Simon Thorpe for company. And as they make their way down through Charlie's, down the hill and back up again on the Park Straight, it is still as they were. Brad Smith from Mick Sutton, from Simon Reed. Luke Weston, though, up into 4th place, able to make a position on the start. And I think Mick Sutton went for a lunge down the inside of Brad Smith. It was a little bit late. I think Brad Smith has just been able to hold on. In fact, he did, and that actually threw Mick Sutton offline. He had to back out of it. And all of a sudden, Simon Reed's right there in the rearview mirror, filling his vision as they make their way through the gooseneck. Again, they're just having to check each other up a little bit, being a bit cagey because at this late stage of the championship, contact, dropping points, there's no chance to claw it back later on. This is it for the drivers. As in the background, I think that was
Simon Thorpe,
Simon Thorpe having a bit of a scary wide
Mick
moment.
Mick Sutton getting very sideways there, feeling the pressure from Simon Reed. I think he's got the speed. He just needs to look forward, concentrate on ahead into that brilliant camera angle. Look at Luke Weston and Andy Dorman. Andy Dorman, I think, getting sucked into
around the outside.
Yeah, Andy Dorman there getting sucked into the line that Luke Weston was. Luke Weston taking a lot of that inside curve, and you saw daylight under his car.
That was a mega overtake as well in the background, though, from Kobe Likens. You saw Andy Dorman get very loose and wobbly and decided that was the time to go for it, around the outside into the hairpin, and able to get the move stopped before they got into barn. Excellent positioning of his car there by Kobe, really coming on leaps and bounds since the start of the championship. Can't wait to see him in the Formula 4 car, but the focus is still on these MX-5s, and it's a close battle for second place. Simon Reed on Mick Sutton as Simon Thorpe having a moment down at Charlie's. Backwards he goes into the walls, and this is Simon Reed trying to go for the move on Mick Sutton. Mick Sutton holds the inside line, parks it on the apex, stops Simon Reed from getting the cutback just by putting his car in the right spot, making his MX-5 as massive as possible. Simon Reed, though, is showing a good turn of pace at this early phase of the race. Mick Sutton might just be a little bit worried.
Yeah, what a start that has been, though. That was brilliant to watch. Yeah, I tell you what, Luke Weston for me is the guy in the move. I feel like Simon Reed and Mick Sutton hold themselves up a little bit here, and Luke Weston is really finding his pace. Maybe just a bit scary over the crest in this last complex for me. A little bit maybe inconsistent, but let's see how he manages this time. Kobe Likens must have had an issue also coming up the hill. Will we see an adventurous line here by Luke Weston again? No, looked a little bit more in control that time. Simon Reed and Mick Sutton now, though, really close. Look at Kobe Likens getting huge air onto the back of Teddy Hines here. So Teddy Hines has kept on track and doing very well indeed. Brad Smith, though, really starting to get a bit of under pressure here from Mick Sutton and Simon Reed.
Kobe Likens trying to fight back through the field. He was up into 5th place after overtaking Andy Dorman, but has dropped back down into 8th, unfortunately. So trying all he can do to claw back any margins. And of course, that was by going airborne over the hill, going through the Hall bends. Up in front, though, it is still these three: Brad Smith, Mick Sutton, and Simon Reed. But it always seems to me that this first sector, Brad Smith has it absolutely nailed down. Gets a big enough margin, and it's a crucial part because the main overtaking zone at this circuit is probably into Park, isn't it? Right at the sort of highest end of the circuit after that long sort of straightaway section where you can get the slipstream, go for a move. Then here, when you come into the infield, while Mick Sutton is that little bit faster, there's no way to make a move. Both have contact. There was that a late lunge down the inside from Simon Reed, tagging the rear of Mick Sutton. That was down at Mansfield, and both drivers losing out massively.
Yeah, I missed that, if I'm honest. I'm not quite sure what happened there from Simon Reed. Maybe it was a lack of judgment or something like that, but that is going to have huge consequences for both drivers in the championship. Andy Dorman now up in the 3rd, but Brad Smith in 1st. These are crucial points that these drivers can't really afford to be losing.
Yeah, from what I saw of the incident, it looked like it was potentially just down to Mick Sutton missing his apex a little bit. leaving space down the inside for Simon Reed to go into. And then as Simon Reed went for the inside, they both realised, hang on, this gap's closing a little bit sooner than we expected. They tried to sort of get out of it, but the cars were moving closer and closer together. They had contact. For me, that was just an unfortunate racing incident. Simon Reed saw a move, tried to go for it. Cadwell realised that he left, not Cadwell, Mick Sutton realised he left too much space, tried to close it off, and they both ended up making, well, a bit of a misjudgment there. And that's crucial, of course, for the championship. Both the heavy hitters down and out. This could be a golden opportunity for Andy Dorman to claw back some points.
Yeah, it could, but if I'm truly honest with you, Andy Dorman tonight just not got quite the pace that I feel like he needed to really battle for the overall championship lead here. He's sitting third at the moment in the championship, and you know he's third in position at the moment, but with drivers ahead of him that he shouldn't be battling against in the championship. You know, he's beat Luke Weston before, he's beat Brad Smith before. He needs to turn up tonight on the top of his 8th game, bring home a win. Mick Sutton with another one. So I believe Mick Sutton there, looking at where he's crashed, he must have ran wide going down the bankment onto the grass, and that's why he's in the left-hand wall. Simon Reed, though, is now ahead of Sam Milner. So as we see Teddy Hines there with the spin through the right-left section, resetting back the pits there. Simon Reed's the one who's really making progress, thinking that, you know, he can extend his championship points here with Mick Sutton down in 7th place. Yeah,
so that's a huge swing in Simon Reed's favour for the championship, but it's not all over yet, is it? He still has potentially a fight with Andy Dorman on his hands. Simon Reed is definitely fast enough to catch up to the rear bumper of the number 7 in 3rd place. But this race has just been an absolute dream, hasn't it, for Brad Smith up at the front. He's converting his pole position very nicely so far. And Luke Weston, we touched on it in qualifying that he wasn't able to get the practice in, didn't quite show the same pace that we were expecting of him. Yeah. He's proved us both wrong here, doing a very good job up in 2nd place. And that's just because of his consistency. While he's not able to maybe put the time in to find the raw pace around the circuit, it's just ability of keeping it consistent and not making many mistakes is the reason why he's just such a formidable force.
Yeah, and you know what, actually, this race is definitely not over. Looking at the last lap times, Brad Smith's last lap, a 1:41.05. Luke Weston's last lap, a 1:40.62. So half a second faster Luke Weston was last lap than Brad Smith. So this gap could be one that closes down. And if it closes down any quicker, should I say, that's really going to play into hands on that first straightaway and getting that slipstream and really open up a possible overtaking opportunity. So this is definitely a battle to keep an eye on going towards the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. And I've just seen Simon Reed has put the fastest first sector of anybody this race, and it's crucial for the man in 7th place, Mick Sutton, to catch up to this man, Simon Reed, and overtake him by as many positions as possible to keep the championship alive. That's not going to happen as it stands, though, as Simon Reed again sets a fast lap and closes the gap down to the car in front, to Andy Dorman. Fastest lap of the race. Who is holding that?
Kobe Likens.
Kobe Likens. So Kobe doing a brilliant drive. Didn't see too much of him in qualifying, but it turns out in the race, he's quick where it counts and could be on for a good result. Don't forget, he was up in 5th, battling nicely with Andy Dorman. Just imagine how his race could be going if he didn't have that little mistake.
Yeah, you know what? We've actually seen this from Kobe quite a few times, where qualifying he hasn't quite managed to get all the speed out the car, hasn't got that ultimate lap time pace. But I tell you what, his race pace, there's nothing wrong with that at the moment, currently setting the fastest. But Andy Dorman maybe just starting to find his stride as well, starting to feel like there might be a little bit of pressure from Simon Reed, who is closing behind. He's just done fastest first sector of anyone out on track. So Andy Dorman now the person to really watch and could be on the move. Looking at lap times between Brad Smith and Luke Weston, both drivers setting a 1:40.4 last lap out. So them drivers are sort of responding to each other. Luke Weston testing the water, Brad Smith managing to respond. Andy Dorman, they're getting huge lift off over that crest. What a spectacular jump that is to have on a track, and having these MX-5s got absolutely lit over it.
Yeah, Andy Dorman, now that he probably doesn't have a championship to fight for, he's been a bit of a showman, isn't he? Climbing his way up through all bends, going all four wheels, off the tarmac, into the air, hard on the brakes, into the hairpin. Great stuff from Simon. And also, a crucial thing is by cutting that inside, you get more air time. You also have a little bit more speed, so it's also, well, looks flashy and fabulous. It's also pretty damn fast. So Andy Dorman, you can tell it's pretty damn fast because he was set, well, what was the second fastest lap of the race, only to be beaten by Simon Reed. So Simon is really starting to close in as well. We've seen that gap come down lap after lap. It's now well underneath 1 second. And sooner or later, we're going to see a battle for position. But Simon Reed doesn't need to do that, does he? He's got the margin to his main rival, Mick Sutton. And while it would be nice to get a podium place, you can think about the longer game.
Yeah, he could indeed, but let's face it, they're all racing drivers here. They are all just wanting to get as many points as probably possible. So we'll wait and see. We'll see if we can grab a question from Simon Reed after as well, and see whether he had any championship tactic thoughts during the race, or whether he was just thinking, I want to get every position I can and make it so that I don't even have to worry about my second race.
Yeah, we'll see. That is, of course, if he ends up on the podium and we can interview him. Of course, that can all change, isn't it? Everything can happen in these races, especially in the final few moments into the second half. 8 minutes still to go, plus however long of the lap is left.
Oh, Brad Smith with a really slow last lap.
Yeah, he's had
really
a mistake
slow
somewhere, and all of a sudden Luke Weston has closed in behind, but Simon Reed, it's going to be bumper to bumper for third place here. Andy Dorman just in front, all closing in now. Look at the amount of speed being sent into the corners by Simon. Really starting to turn the pace up. Last lap was his fastest and the fastest lap of the session. So a very quick time being set by Simon Reed. He's going to go down onto the inside of the slipstream, down the park straight into the park bend, hard on the brakes down the inside, and I don't think Andy Dorman was going to fight that too much, was he?
No, unfortunately that was a bit of a done and dusted move. Andy not quite defending the inside enough, going towards the right-hander there, not on the inside line, not forcing Simon to go around the outside, which realistically, when the slipstream and the overrun of speed like that, that's where Andy needed to position that car there. But Simon Reed doing a very good job to get a good enough run out and really threaten it. Simon Reed now really the driver on the move. Luke Weston though really threatened the back of Brad Smith after Brad Smith's previous really slow lap. This will be really interesting to see how Brad can soak up that pressure, or whether Luke Weston's going to go, right, this wins on the cards, I'm going for it.
Yeah, going for it, he certainly will be. Luke Weston right
Sam Milner.
well. Sam Milner's had a moment, and that was coming, was that the top of the mountain? It was, yeah, up the mountain. So Sam Milner, again, another driver we're seeing having difficulties there, and in the background, Mick Sutton is arriving on the scene. Could be a small saving grace for Mick getting up there into 6th place. That will, of course, take him off of the front row for the second race of the evening. Top 10 reverse grid, but for all intents and purposes, it is a full reverse. And all of a sudden, the gap up front has started to increase now as Brad Smith, he had the little moment, but I think has responded very well to the pace being set by Luke in behind. The number 2 car currently sitting P2, and well, he's going to try all he can do to make sure it won't be P3 come the end of the race for him, because look who's arriving on the scene. Simon Reed turning up the pace, if it was even possible to do so. He's certainly finding that extra little bit.
Yeah, he is indeed, but as he said before, very impressive drivers. Luke Weston goes very wide onto the grass, doing very well not to get car rotation on that grass and put him in the wall there, keeping it straight. But this is all going to play in favour for Simon Reed, who's looking extremely racy at the moment. But also Brad Smith with a bit more breathing room now. He's allowing himself to open that gap, pull away, stop looking at his mirror as much and go forward, as we see Mick Sutton there, and I believe is that Sam Milner who's very wide there, so maybe a slight altercation there. Whoa, look at Luke Weston there with a huge jump in front of Simon Reed there. Simon Reed probably think there might be a move to actually go under Luke Weston there. So yeah, Brad Smith doing a brilliant job here, a very impressive drive to keep his head, very consistent, definitely a driver on the cards for driver of the round here.
Yeah, excellent drive this, and look at this, 2 by 2 they go into the first corner. Luke Weston holds the inside, forces Simon to concede the corner. And now as they make their way up through Charlie's and back down at the park straight, Simon Reed dipping a couple of rows out onto the grass, loses touch, but then the slipstream brings him back into the fight. I don't think he'll be close enough onto the brakes into Park Bend though, so it will remain second for Weston, third for Reed. A little look down the inside, just showing Luke that he's there, but I think Luke's known from the past couple of laps that Simon Reed's definitely there or thereabouts right behind him. And this is going to go right down to the wire. Only 4 minutes still to go. On board with Simon Reed as they make their way through the gooseneck and plunge their way down into Mansfield. They go down the inside for Simon Reed. Is he going to be able to get it to stick? No, he doesn't. He seems to sort of half send it. He's either got committed on the brakes down on the inside or fully backing out of it. It was a little bit cagey that from Simon Reed, and you can't afford doing that too much, because if you don't commit for the moves, you can find yourselves ending in tears, and that was exactly what we saw between himself and Mick Sutton at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I would dare say Andy Dorman actually is looking very much in this picture again, really closing up on the back because of the fighting that's going on in front of him. So Andy Dorman going to be a one to watch. As we see Simon Thorpe, I imagine that's exactly what we've seen before from other drivers, running it slightly wide on the grass. Once the car starts to rotate, you end up in that left-hand wall. That isn't a nice wall to be in. And if anyone who knows who's been on track days at Cadwell Park, that wall is quite often repaired.
Yeah, definitely. So, again, the closeness between Simon Reed and Luke Weston is clear for all to see, but we're going to see this time Luke Weston really trying to defend that inside line into Park. Is it going to work out for him? Is Simon Reed going to be able to dive to the inside? He cuts down there late on the brakes, committed send, turns in from Luke Weston, and apparently maybe Luke Weston just didn't realise he was there or something. There was definitely the car on the inside, the overlap was there, but Luke Weston didn't want to give up, and in doing so ended up losing out on not one but 2 places there as Andy Dorman slides his way through. But then look at that, Simon Reed very wide off, but actually by running that wide he actually went fast through the corner and built up a margin to Andy Dorman. But then down through Mansfield he gets it all out of shape. Is it grass on the tyres that means he isn't able to slow it down enough, and all of a sudden Andy Dorman's going to go for it. 2 by 2 they go into the mountain section. Oh my word, that was almost tears, that was almost heartbreak for Simon Reed. Andy Dorman now up into second place. We thought he was giving up the ghost. We thought he was going to concede the position, lose out on a podium place, but look at him right the way back up there in second place. Just goes to show that Andy Dorman knows how to manage these races brilliantly. And now, who's it going to be on the podium? Because any one of these 3 drivers, even 4 drivers with Kobe Likens hanging there looming large, could find themselves celebrating at the end of this first race. But one thing's for certain, as we have started the final lap now, Brad Smith, well, an impervious lead, you have to say, up at the front, 4 seconds to the good. It's all a question of who's going to be second place.
Yeah, definitely. Brad Smith's definitely done enough this race. He did a great start, did exactly what I said about, being confident, getting a good start, and having Mick on the outside in the first corner was his. Pulled away, and then, yeah, he just drove an absolutely stellar race. That one fault, we're not quite sure what happened there, so hopefully we'll find out what happened there in the interviews. But yeah, this is looking like this is going to be a battle between Simon Reed and Andy Dorman. I don't know now whether Simon Reed is going to do anything battle-wise for the championship. He's probably thinking that was maybe a little bit naughty against Luke Weston. We'll wait and see what happens there. You know, is it worth chancing another overtake, or am I quite happy with the third place? So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see between Andy Dorman and Simon Reed here.
Yeah, it's very close. There aren't really many opportunities to overtake here, though. But if so,
he has made a mistake. He has.
It will open the door, won't it, for Luke Weston in the background, looming large as they make their way through the hall bends for the final time in this first race at Cadwell Park. It's going right down to the wire. Look at this. Luke Weston's trying to find any way through, pushing him around, trying to find an opening. There's none seemingly appearing for him. So, unfortunately, Luke Weston misses out on the podium, but at the top for the first time this series, his first race victory goes to Brad Smith, the first race at Cadwell Park. It was a long time coming. Good to see him finally get his first victory. Andy Dorman there in second place. Close for battle between himself and Simon Reed, with Luke Weston down in fourth place. Kobe Likens fifth. Mick Sutton at there sixth place ahead of Sam Milner, and Simon Thorpe will round out the field after, well, that mistake down at the mountain pretty much sums up Simon Thorpe's first race. We'll be very glad to get this behind him and start the second race at the top of the pile.
Yeah, definitely. What a race that was, wasn't it? It really surprised me with the amount of drama and how raceable it was. You know, at the end, that could have been a four-way battle for second place. So, yeah, what a race that was.
Brilliant stuff, isn't it? Absolutely wonderful racing here at Cadwell Park. And Dave, we've got a few drivers lining up for an interview. I'll let you do the pleasure of interviewing our race winner.
Yeah, we'll go straight down now. I'll jump to third place. Simon Reed first. You know, that race wasn't without its dramas, and probably not the race you were wanting to have for the championship battle.
No, yeah, it was definitely a lot of action going on, but yeah, I made a few mistakes, and yeah, I must apologise to Mick. I misjudged his exit speed and gave him a little tap, and that had us both off. But it looks like Mick came off worse than I did. So yeah, not a brilliant race, but still up on the podium. So yeah, can't be too disappointed with that.
And I've got to quickly ask, how difficult is this track to actually race? You were putting pressure on Andy there the whole way, but then just trying to make a little bit of a dive and go for an overtake, then brought who was it behind you, Luke Weston, right into the picture, and it was like he was going to have a look into the last corner. So, are you finding it really difficult to race here compared to the likes of Thruxton or Brands or anywhere else?
Yeah, it's tricky because I mean I feel like I've got the pace to get past people, but the track's so narrow and the opportunities to overtake are not many. And yeah, I'm having to find you've really got to put your car there and get your way through.
Well, congratulations, Simon, on the podium result, and look forward to seeing how you get through the grid in the second race.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you.
I will move to our second place finisher, Andy Dorman. Probably not the result that you were expecting after the first half of the race, but it was really a case of just seeing what the other drivers were going to do and let them make the mistakes and you to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, that was the plan from the start, is just let them get out in front a bit and sort themselves out and see where it all pans out.
And I've got to ask regarding the track as well, how difficult do you find the track to race on, as well as being consistent on? You know, the amount of undulation and the amount of bumps and jumps of this track. Is it really that difficult of a track to drive?
One of the most difficult tracks I've driven around. Any little offline moments gives you a big penalty.
But I've got to ask Andy, are you enjoying it? Is it a good track?
It's a really good track.
Well, that's what we like to hear, and I tell you what, really looking forward to seeing how the drivers cope with this in the Formula 4 as well at Cadwell Park. Congratulations, Andy, on taking second place, and looking forward to seeing how you do in race 2.
Thanks a lot.
And moving on to our P1 finisher, Brad Smith, a win under your belt. How do you feel about that one?
Oh!
I think that about sums it all up, doesn't it?
That's mental.
Yeah, I mean, you made it easy enough for yourself at the start. You put it on pole, and you were committed off the line, got a good start, and made Mick go the long way around at turn 1. And from then, you weren't really looking in your mirrors. You were just going forward.
I was literally looking in my mirrors the whole time. I could see Simon creeping back up the pack, and I was like, oh no. I started going slow at one point, and I thought, I've got to pick up the pace again. And then I made a little mistake, which let, I think it was Luke, catch right up behind me. Yeah. And then I started pulling away again. Then I think he had a tangle up with Simon again. And then I thought, I've just got to cruise at home now.
Yeah, I mean, we did actually notice that there was one lap that was about 2 seconds off. It wasn't caught in stream, but was that a moment on track, or was that just you really trying to back the pace off?
No, I had a moment. I just took just one corner a little bit wide, which chucked me onto the curb into the next corner, which chucked me straight onto the grass.
Wow, well, it just shows how quickly it can go wrong, Brad, but you didn't get it wrong that badly, because you still brought home the win. Huge congratulations on your first VRRC win. I hope it's the most of many, and yeah, how hard do you think it's going to be in the second race to get through?
It's going to be extremely hard, but I'm going to give it a good shot.
Well, looking forward to seeing it, Brad. Huge congratulations. Let's see how you get on.
Thank you very much. Also, hello Nan, my top fan. She's probably at home screaming, getting complaints from the neighbour.
Top fan, Nan.
Good old Granny Smith. At it again. Congratulations, Brad. Excellent driving, wasn't it, from Brad Smith there. Taking his first race victory and also first pole position, all in the span of about 20 minutes. You can't ask for more than that. Well, you could, but we'll find out if he's able to do another wonderful drive through the field in this, the second race of the evening here at Cadwell Park. Not long to go till the race gets underway here, Dave.
Yeah, you know what? That for me was a very, very impressive drive from Brad. You know, one of them things is you don't know necessarily how to drive, how not to look in the mirrors if you haven't already been in first place. So this is really good experience for Brad to get his first win under his belt, experience that pressure he's got from behind. Now he'll have a bit more of an understanding of the way in which to lead races. Realise that if you try and back off it and switch your concentration off slightly, and you know what? Fair play from bringing home the win. I'm so chuffed for him.
Yeah, it's going to be excellent to see if he's able to have another excellent performance here at Cadwell Park. Not long until lights come on, and this second and also the final race of the evening and this season will be underway here. The lights come on, the engine notes rise, and we will go racing here off the line. A good start that by Sam Milner. Simon Thorpe just not getting the good start he was hoping for. Look at that down the middle. Oh, Mick Sutton and off the grass. Oh, I was going to shine a light on a great start by Luke Weston, but several cars all off. Mick Sutton off. Just
that's going to be a safety car, I'd imagine.
That has got to be a safety car, but also a big impact on the championship. Mick Sutton, after his excellent start to the championship, it's all coming unraveled. You can see that cars weaving around, slowing down. Safety car is out on the circuit, but what a start that was by Luke Weston. I think for the time we're under green flag running, he was on the grass more than he was on the track.
Yeah, you know what? I think that was just a case of Luke saw an opportunity of a closing pack. He kept two wheels on track, so the overtake was legal and using every inch of it. Yeah, so I believe this is going to be a virtual safety car. So as long as the pack is all bunched up, by the time we get up the mountain, I'd imagine we won't even see the safety car come out here. It'll just be lights out and the drivers go back to full speed racing again. Sam Milner, we saw a few inconsistencies, particularly on that mountain, so that's going to be a weakness that Luke Weston might have noticed, although saying that, he wasn't spectating the race, was he? He was actually driving, so he won't know that, but looking at him from being behind him, he might go, right, that might be the place that can make that overtake. Luke Weston seemed quite calculated, I would say, in the previous race, to being aware of where certain drivers were slower than himself, and that might be the position in which he can overtake on. So really look forward to seeing how he's going to deal with this one.
Yeah, Sam Milner, he'll be able to set the pace of the field. And when will he go? That's the real question. And will he be able to catch all of the other drivers out?
I believe he's gone.
No,
I believe he's gone.
He's already gone, so He's tried to catch out Luke Weston, but it hasn't worked out. Look at how close Luke is now. Luke can't make the overtake just yet. He has to wait until, obviously, the start-finish line. So he drops back a little bit, gives some space to Sam Milner up in front, and then closes down yet again. So Sam Milner will lead the first lap, of course, half of it under virtual safety car. Luke Weston right behind there in second place. Keep your eyes open for Simon Reed to try and climb back up through the field. He was involved in a little bit of an incident, had contact with a spinning Mick Sutton. So there could be a little bit of damage on his car. It might affect him down this.
Oh, a little bit wide. Kobe Likens.
And Kobe Likens, like you said, could try and throw himself into the mix. I don't know if Kobe will be close enough to really go for it. The inside line's been covered off firmly there by Simon Reed. He's down on the inside, and all Simon Reed really needs to do this time out is just to finish the race. He's got a margin up at the top of the championship. Doesn't need to make any mistakes, doesn't need to throw anything on the table and just take any risks is the main factor for him. As I say that though, he's going to go for an inside line down into Mansfield. Oh my word, Kobe Likens almost had contact, almost made the move as well, and look at this, Mick Sutton's going to try and find his way through. Look at this side by side, this is close. Look at Mick Sutton down the inside on Kobe Likens, and there's steady heights. Moment there, colliding with Simon Reed. Mick Sutton's going to go through ahead of all of them. Oh my word.
And I'm going to say this now, I've just worked out the point standings, and Mick Sutton is on tie points with Andy Dorman for second place in the championship. So this really matters. Andy Dorman 1 place ahead at the moment of Mick Sutton. So Andy Dorman will have done enough if he finishes in the position he is at the moment.
Don't forget though, of course, Mick Sutton, after his first race performance being down the order, means that he started a little bit higher up. He isn't able to gain as many points for climbing up the order than Andy Dorman. So realistically, Mick Sutton probably needs to put 2 cars between himself and Andy to take second place in the championship here, Dave.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to prove.
In the background, Teddy Hines, big moment that coming out of Charlie's.
That was an absolutely awful crash. See, look at Brad Smith working his way up into the podium position with a great overtake. Whoa! I believe that was a huge lag spike, and that's seen Andy Dorman in the tyre wall. Hopefully he can get that goal as soon as possible. That's not the way we like to see a championship decided by doing that. That is a huge moment. As, you know, huge moment happens. Brad Smith made his way up into 3rd place.
Wow, I'm at a loss for words. That's just catastrophic for Andy Dorman. He's able to benefit a little bit from a spinning Simon Thorpe. Bedded it in the barriers, and Sam Milner's off from the front of the race, from the front of the field. That was our race leader. Luke Weston now takes the race lead following that moment down at the mountain. What happened there for Sam? Was it contact? I can't see anything for me that shows that there was contact between
Mick
2 cars,
Sutton!
and Mick Sutton's gone off. What on earth is going on this race?
Oh, this has turned into an absolute disaster of a second race. I mean, it's a great spectacle to watch. Mick Sutton going wide on the grass. He just needs to get his head back in this. The championship isn't gone yet. He just needs to hold on to it. Luke Weston doing a fantastic job up front. Brad Smith, after his first win in the previous race, up into 2nd place, kept his nose clean, doing a fantastic job.
This is going to be brilliant if Brad Smith can get up there and take another race victory. I mean, we said that he had some promise, didn't he, at his first meeting at Snetterton? But we didn't expect it to be realised so quickly. I think that's the real shocker, is that he's just adjusted so fast to this championship and up there with some of the top guys. And I mean, Luke Weston, he's definitely no slouch. Got brilliant victories, races as well down at Brands Hatch at start of the season without force feedback. So, you know what Luke Weston's capable of. Simon Reed as well, closing in just at the fastest first sector of anybody. That's been taken away though by Andy Dorman in the background. So Andy Dorman racing with a point to prove. Brad Smith, wow, if he can catch up to Luke Weston maybe challenge him. That would be an amazing race. Not looking like it'll be coming to fruition just yet.
Simon Reed.
Loose. Simon Reed, very loose as well. Collision with the wall there. That was coming at the end of Hallbends into the hairpin. So again, drivers getting caught out there. Simon Reed's going to hope that he hasn't got too much damage on his car from not only getting through all of the field, but also contact with that barrier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in awe of this track, just providing some absolutely fantastic action. The car's jumping over the crest. It's almost like a rally stage instead of a racetrack. But I tell you what, I don't think there's any track or car combo at this moment in time I would rather be on than jumping in this MX-5 and trying absolutely 10/10ths around here.
I know, it'd be brilliant to get behind the wheel, but of course, we're in the comms box. We don't have the joy that these drivers have of driving through the lovely Lincolnshire roller coaster that is Cadwell Park. And Simon Reed, he's looking to try and get to the front and get around Brad Smith. He's turned up a good amount of pace. And if Simon Reed is able to get through, get up in front, well, I think the championship's already done and dusted, but this will be his championship signed, sealed and delivered if he can come through for a podium finish.
Yeah, it is indeed. Simon Reed's got a very, very good advantage at the moment over Andy Dorman and Mick Sutton on the point standing. So Simon Reed just needs to bring this home. But Brad Smith, it's probably the logical thing here to do is try to focus on where to let Simon Reed through. Let Simon through. It's still got 10 minutes left of this race. Let Simon get past, tuck in his slipstream, go with him and let him close up the battle Luke Weston. Then hopefully we'll battle and it'll allow Brad Smith at the end of the race to close back up and have a chance with a possible another win.
Yeah, and I mean, this has been an excellent drive so far from all of the drivers that have been able to keep it on the island, especially these three up at the front, Luke Weston, Brad Smith and Simon Reed. Having a look at the times being set now. Brad Smith 1 minute 40.5. Simon Reed going a full second. Actually, I was looking at the best lap time. Sorry, last time around, Luke Weston was actually fastest of this group, setting his personal best of the race so far. So he's starting to respond to the drivers closing up to him, and Luke could be on for a race victory. I think if my memory serves right, he won the first victory of the season down at Brands Hatch, and he could be on track to win the final race of the season here at Cadwell.
Yeah, I know Luke's been having a lot of internet issues and a lot of wheel issues and probably all the other sort of issues, and it feels a bit probably hard done by, but it's nice to see. It looks like he's sorted his internet problems and he's sorted his wheel problems just in time for Cadwell Park and the start of the next championship. So really looking forward to seeing how Luke's going to get on in the next round.
And just how crucial is that, of course, to finish out this championship and set yourself up amazingly for the next. I know the Formula 4 is a different car completely, but it's still good, isn't it, to get out there and know the drivers that you're racing with just before hopping into a new bit of kit.
Yeah, it really is, and in them Formula 4 cars, they're going to suit certain drivers and they're not going to suit others. So it'll be really interesting to see how he adapts to a different car choice. You'll notice the MX-5 is a lot about confidence in picking the throttle up and rolling the speed into corners. Formula 4 requires you to be very, very smooth, not allow any scrubbing. Andy Dorman's gone wide. So actually this has got a huge play on the championship standings. Mick Sutton up into 5th. Andy Dorman really just trying to make some progress back after that huge incident at the start of the race. To be fair, Sam Milner isn't that far up the road from Andy Dorman, so that might not be done yet. Look at this, Simon Reed really closing at the back of Brad Smith now. How defensive is Brad Smith going to go? Very defensive, in fact. Simon Reed having to back out of that one. Brilliant defensive drive there by Brad Smith.
Is there a cutback though? Simon Reed looks to the inside, gets closed off through Chris Curve, and then down they will go. And another right-hander into the gooseneck. Simon Reed just behind there in 3rd, trying to pick his moment, find his way through, but just look at how much speed Brad Smith was able to take through the gooseneck. Takes too much speed though into Mansfield. So it's ebbs and flows, isn't this? You can see areas where Brad is faster, areas where Simon is faster. Having a look at some of the times being set through as well. Andy Dorman has got the fastest lap of the race so far. But it's a small comfort for the driver down in 7th place. Of course, he was going to be hoping to finish ahead of Mick Sutton and guarantee the fact he'd be finishing second in this championship, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Simon Reed very close though. Excellent end to the lap this by Simon Reed. He's always stronger here than Brad Smith, but Brad, what an exit that was. Just a couple of wheels off onto the grass, but nothing more. Gets the brilliant acceleration out the corner, and that's what he said is you need to have in these MX-5s is the commitment on the throttle through the corners to get the best run, because these cars are so based around momentum.
Yeah, and you know what? Talking about based on momentum, look who's just set the fastest. Oh, I tell a lie there. Actually, Mick Sutton's got fastest lap, but Kobe Lyken's doing the fastest lap he's done. A 1:39.7 with the fastest sector 2 out of anyone. So, huge moment there by Simon Reed. Just misjudging his braking point into the back of Brad Smith. Hopefully, Brad Smith can get on the track as soon as possible. I'd imagine that will be a one for the clerk of the course to have a look at afterwards. Hopefully that won't have any bearing on the championship standings overall. Kobe Likens has found himself up into a podium spot after doing his best lap time of the session.
Oh, Simon Reed, it was going so well for him, but he ends up making a mistake like that that's going to inevitably get him probably pinged by the stewards. Brad Smith, through no real fault of his own, I think he just got, unfortunately taken out of this race. Still in 5th place, of course, good points to him, but that has helped out Mick Sutton to no end, because he's found himself up in 4th place from what was stone dead last at the safety car being called in. You see him coming through the bump there, nearly all 4 wheels off the track into the hairpin, and you know what, Mick Sutton could somehow snatch a podium out of all of this carnage.
Yeah, he could indeed. And the way Mick Sutton's been driving, he's been driving with anger. His lap times are coming down. He's the man on the mission. But to be fair, Kobe is lapping very, very quick himself, doing another 39.77. Kobe is really pushing the lap time here. To put it in perspective, Simon Reed in front of him last lap a 41.2. I know he had that slight collision.
Almost just hit fastest lap now, so he's taken back that away from Mick Sutton here, Dave.
Oh,
it's going to give a few points swing in his favour, but is it just too little too late?
You know what? I can't even work out the maths. Hopefully, I know Tom O'Farrell, who's also doing the cameras, has an active spreadsheet that he can try and work it out on. So hopefully, we'll have a few updates from Tom regarding the final championship positions. But I tell you what, this has been the most dramatic end to the championship we could have ever expected, with positions changing lap in, lap out, because of actually, you know, how difficult the track is and how difficult the consistency levels are.
Yeah, and it's strange, isn't it, to see how this race has gone throughout start to finish. It's been something that's difficult for us commentators to keep track of. There's been action left, right and centre all evening, but this second race, it definitely has sort of end of term vibes, doesn't it? Teachers don't really care, neither do the students. They're all throwing stuff around, looking Kobe Likens really airborne there and just sending it through the corners. It is a roller coaster ride. You can have a bit of fun, but both hands on the steering wheel, please, gents.
Yeah, this is Mick Sutton really on the edge here, isn't it? Right on the back of Kobe Likens. Kobe Likens is probably feeling the pressure here a bit now. Mick Sutton with a really impressive last lap time, a 1:39.1. Mick Sutton is really hungry here for this podium.
Andy Dorman's done a 1:38.995, so a quick lap time as well by Andy, trying to take back fastest lap from Mick Sutton. These two are swapping it around. They're having their own fight when they're, you know, a good few 100 metres separate from one another. Social distancing to the max. Mick Sutton, though, up into 3rd place. Kobe Likens didn't seem to want to fight that one.
Yeah, he didn't seem to want to fight that one at all, did he, really? I wonder whether Kobe Likens is just thinking, right, I'm just going to sit in behind 3rd place here, try and learn where Mick's getting an extra bit of speed from. Remember, this is not the only time they're going to be at this track, so maybe he's just trying to pick up a few things. Remember, it's one thing going out on track, but the easiest way to learn stuff is by watching another driver. So that could be exactly what we're seeing here.
another thing Kobe could be thinking about the end of the race, closing up to Simon Reed. Mick Sutton was over a second and a half faster, but he won't be this time as another driver caught out by the mountain. Mick Sutton just having a large moment there, missing out on the best run possible, losing out, of course, on the podium places now as Kobe Likens takes back third place. I'm not sure if that was maybe what Kobe Likens was planning for, but he's certainly going to take it, won't he?
He will indeed. He will indeed. That was maybe just a little bit of pressure on Mick going, right, I've got a bit of clear air now, let's get my foot down. And unfortunately, putting that foot down was a little bit too much, wasn't it? So, yeah, a whole rearrange again. Kobe back up into third place. And I believe it puts Andy Dorman provisionally into second place.
Yeah, so it's all been kicking off, isn't it? And there could still be a little bit of battling between Andy Dorman and Sam Milner. Closing in down the park straight. I don't think he'll be close enough for a move, but again, fills the rear view mirrors of the car in front. Tries to throw him offline if at all possible. Into park they go. I love these onboard shots we get at Cadwell because you can just see the way the circuit sort of flows around, the elevation changes as well. It gives you a sense of what it's like to drive the car. Andy Dorman really getting the car hooked up nicely. This final part of this first sector. Down into Mansfield he goes, gets it nicely up in front. A mistake from Sam Milner. He'll be able to stay in front coming into the mountain, but he can't afford any more moments like that if he wants to stay in front and hold on to 6th place by the end of the race. Meanwhile, I think further in front we do have Luke Weston who's about to start the final lap of the race, and what a drive it's been from Luke from start to finish. He's looked very pacey at the beginning, made moves up when it counted. That first couple of corners from him was blistering, and he capitalised on it. And with only a minute to go, this final tour of the Cadwell Park circuit is what's going to separate Luke Weston from race victory.
Yeah, exactly what you said. Luke Weston has put on an excellent display with a very, very committed overtake at the start. He knew how difficult it was going to be to overtake. He really jumped on that chance, got the overtake done as soon as it showed itself, put it up the inside. Then there was the safety car, and from then he's just managed to get through, put it into first position, and then really just help drive away from the rest of the pack. Very, very impressive drive from Luke Weston. A bit of a shame about Brad Smith getting tagged there by Simon Reed. Another drive for me who was really impressed tonight, and probably for me, driver of the round, I would say, actually.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a brilliant drive, hasn't it, from Sam Milner, but also Brad Smith. Yeah, I don't know who we're going to say is driver of the round for this. Sam Milner, not a mistake. Luke Weston as well. He's had excellent drives all evening long. I don't know which way to call this one, to be honest, Dave.
Sorry to put you under pressure, but yeah, it's definitely the two drivers are definitely in the mix for ultimate driver of the round. It was just the composure Brad had to put it on pole and bring home his first win, and unfortunately,
you've swayed me.
He was sitting on the podium there until a tap from Simon Reed took him out of contention. He's managed to pull himself back onto track in 5th place, and to be fair, he's been closing on the back of Mick Sutton as well during this race. Oh, as we see Brad Smith in the background, just as I was saying that with a huge moment at the last corner.
He's up in position, and that is probably going to take the championship into 2nd place for Andy Dorman on the last lap at the final corner. A mistake by Brad Smith has had massive consequences, I think, for this championship. Andy Dorman, at the end, it was looking close between himself and Mick Sutton, but I think that has sealed it. Andy Dorman will finish 2nd place in the championship.
Yeah, I'm trying to work it out, but then obviously Mick Sutton's also gained a position, has he?
I don't think he has.
No, he hasn't, because Brad was behind. Yeah, so Yeah, I'll put Tom under the pressure and see if we can get an up-to-date standings here as he's trying to operate with about 8 different hands, operating different camera angles. But yeah, a very, very impressive drive. Simon Thorpe just bringing it home there. His car actually looking relatively clean there. Nice to see. Luke Weston looking very, very happy with himself there. Getting it a little bit sideways, coming down the hill. And you know what? He should be. What a fantastic drive that has been.
Excellent stuff, that by Luke Weston. Thoroughly deserving his race victory, not only because of the troubles he had at the start of the season, but also just from the consistency he's showing when he has been driving. That he might not be the fastest person on track at the beginning of the night, but he developed so quickly. If only he was able to put in the practice time, or be able to have the time to put in all those practice laps that the drivers have, he's going to be a very formidable force in the coming championships. But that comes to an end of the Mazdas, isn't it? The final time we see these MX-5s out on circuit in anger, and you know what? I'm going to miss them, but the Formula 4s are only a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, MX-5 for me also been a really, really good championship to be part of. I think the cars are fantastic and a really, really good learning platform, the same as the Formula 4s are going to be. You know, open wheel is never going to be an easy car to race, but at least jumping into Formula 4s is going to give the drivers, you know, a little bit more of a chance with the cars not being blisteringly fast. Obviously, they're going to be quite a lot faster than MX-5. But in saying that, we're going to jump down to the interview box and jump straight to our P3 finisher. Kobe Lyken's probably not where you expect it to be after it looked almost like letting Mick Sutton through into 3rd place there, but then he quite quickly spun himself out and you got the position back.
Yeah. That was a tactical move because I know that Mick kind of like is tend to make mistakes, and it's a bit of a tactical move there because he can put a lot of pressure on you, and then it's really easy to make mistakes. So I turned it around.
Well, nice to hear you've got a little bit of tactics going on there, Corby. But I tell you what, we did see, you know, you maybe didn't quite hook the qualifying lap together that you wanted, but really during the race you're putting some very, very good sector times in there and very impressive lap times.
Yeah, and the thing is, I only started driving this track and car today, so I was surprised that it went so well.
And I've got to ask, you know, with it being your first time driving the track, how do you rate Cadwell Park? Do you really think it's a mini Nürburgring?
It looks like a bit of rally stage, but I like the track. It's very, very difficult to really push the car. But I really enjoy it.
Well, looking forward to seeing how you're going to adapt to other cars on this track as well. Huge congratulations, Corby, bringing it home in P3 tonight, and looking forward to seeing how you adapt in the Formula 4 car.
Thank you, Dave.
Spot on. I'll move to our P2 finisher, Simon Reed, on the podium yet again. Probably, you know, a very dramatic race in your books, but still brought home the points nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, it was a shame that the battle with Brad resolved as it did, but you know, these things happen when you're racing so closely, and he was really defending very hard. But yeah, so I can't really grumble with being on second.
Well, I will say now, provisionally, you are the championship leader, and yeah, I mean, your first championship win with VRRC. You know, that has to be a huge confidence boost going towards the Formula 4s in a few weeks' time.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been hoping that I would manage to finish first, and you know, I've led through the whole season. So yeah, it's good to win one, and yeah, hopefully what I've learned I can apply to the future championships that I enter into.
Well, huge congratulations there, Simon. And yeah, as I said, really looking forward to seeing how you're going to adapt in the Formula 4s.
Yeah, me too. This track will certainly be interesting in the Formula 4s, I think.
It will indeed. I'll speak to you later.
Cheers, Dave.
I'll move on to our P1 finisher, Luke Weston, I mean, what of a start of a race that was. You just saw the gap open up. I mean, it was fraction of a gap, half a car on the grass, but you made it count. You got the positions forward, and you did all your work at the start of the race, didn't you?
Yeah, I noticed I had the momentum off the line, so I thought there's a gap there, and I went for it, and seemed to work out all right, luckily. And then there was the VRRC that managed to keep it going after that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic race for yourself, you know, super consistent. I've got to ask, how difficult was it to find consistency on this track, you know, with it being so technical, as Kobe said, a bit of a rally stage, and especially with that jump, how you're never quite sure how the car's going to react. How did you actually find this track?
Yeah, as a circuit, I definitely found very tricky. I didn't really click with it until probably that second race, really, and I was just really begging the car to down the circuit over that jump.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good spectacle to watch, and it's nice to see that, you know, we'd like to think you've got a few of them issues sorted now. You had the wheel issues at Brands, then you had internet issues. It's looking now like everything is reasonably sorted. Your internet looked great tonight in the connection speed, so things are looking like it's a good step forward.
Yeah, it's all seeming to come together now, so yeah, big thank you to the VRRC for running this MX-5 championship, and I'm looking forward to the F4.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hindered with a few issues in the MX-5, but I think it's fair to say you're definitely going to be up at the front and a championship contender in the formulas next round if you manage to attend all the things without technical failures.
I hope so. As fingers crossed, I should be able to.
Huge congratulations, Luke, on the win. Look forward to seeing how you get on next time out.
Thanks, Dave.
And so there we go, Ed. All the drivers interviewed, and I tell you what, I think there's a few worried people on the grid thinking what this is going to be like in a Formula car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all to come, isn't it, on VRRC, what happens in the Formula car. We have had semi-official confirmation of the results, of course, pending steward's verdict, but Simon Reed will take the championship ahead of Andy Dorman, who took second place, only 5 points ahead of Mick Sutton in the end, who finished down in third, and Sam Milner comes through for fourth place. Of course, stewards will probably be inquiring about certain things that happened. There was probably a lot to digest following this round at Cadwell Park, but in a couple of weeks we do it all again, going to Brands Hatch in 2 weeks in the F4s. Looking forward to that, but of course there's still other things on VRRC to look forward to as well. I believe we've got the League of Champions. This is the Touring Cup. I think they have the GT4s coming up soon, don't they, at Shanghai?
We do indeed. So that starts not tomorrow night, but a week Tuesday in the GT cars. The first cars in the League of Champions. That means it's a multiple class race. So lots of different cars with very different traits. And I tell you what, the drivers have been testing absolutely flat out, trying to make sure they choose the right car, the one that suits their driving style. It is going to be a really epic to watch and see how drivers manage to battle out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be tuning in on that and watching all the drivers, because the conclusion to the touring cars was certainly something, wasn't it? Excellent close racing. So if you haven't been able to watch this, I highly recommend you check out the League of Champions on the Tuesday. Brilliant stuff, of course. But I think that's all we have time for here, Dave. You can see when we kick the action back off the 26th of July at Brands Hatch Indy in the Formula 4s for the Academy Championship. But for me, it's going to be goodbye. Don't forget as well, still space to come through and race. I've been Ed May. Dave Marshall has been alongside me in the commentary box. From us is, of course, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all next time.
Between the two of them. The inside of Coates. Parker gets too heavily involved. And that's Whitehead and Coates.